Hey, welcome to another edition of the Get Made podcast. Wow, this has been an exciting week, exciting month. You know, for those of us who don't know, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so I had the opportunity of participating in a breast cancer walk in Rome, Georgia with my family. You know, a family sponsored a breast cancer awareness program or walk every year. It's called Blister for My Sister, right? It started by a cousin of mine. And, you know, I have several different relatives who are breast cancer survivors. So big up to my family, Gayla, Brenda, and all those who are important in making some things happening within our family, especially my cousin Gayla, because she does a lot of work. She put a lot of work in to make this thing happen. So you guys can go to their website, Blister for My Sister. I think it's .com or .org is one of them, and check them out, donate, because this is serious. But I also want to bring awareness to something else that's happening this month. Actually, too, this month is Blindness Awareness Month as well, right? And I haven't really seen any walks or marches that's taking place or anything like that, right, for this. But I want us to know that this is also the time there is, I don't have it on today because I don't think it blends in well with a background, but the colors, just like pink is the color for breast cancer awareness, white is the color for blindness. And why white? You know, white is a very significant color because, you know, those of us who've seen people who are blind walking around, what color is the stick that they walk around with, right? Is white. And so just to make sure that you guys are aware of us who are walking around with our disability, right? Not looking for no handouts, looking for no sympathy, but we all are looking for some awareness because sometimes people walk around as if they are blind, right? And that they don't see someone who is disabled. So white is also to bring the awareness to it. But here's where this conversation for the Get Made podcast is taking place. Black men are probably the highest group of men who suffer from blindness. And part of that reason is because we don't get checked as often enough as we should, right? And glaucoma is probably one between glaucoma and cataracts is the 1 and 2 conditions where blindness take place for African-American men, Black African-American men, right? And so I want to share a story with everyone here today, right? Because it's showing how this situation is serious. Some years ago, before I became blind or before I was realizing that, you know, I was blind, I was in the throes of the glaucoma and not as awareness because glaucoma, it's very sneaky. It's something that kind of like creeps up on you and all of a sudden it's bam, it's there, right? It gives no signs or no indications of nothing that you have it. Only way you can get it is to get yourself checked out. I don't want to go through the whole science of the whole thing, right? Because this is probably not the place for it. Guys might need to check it out. Go and do some research on it, right? Because it's serious, right? And I don't know for some of us who are old enough to remember back in the day, it was a man who played for the Minnesota Twins by the name of Kirby Puckett, right? He actually had to end his career from baseball. And he was a heck of a baseball player, right? And I think up in Minnesota, up in Minneapolis, they got some displays and different stuff. Some of my people up there out of Minnesota can probably tell us about it even more and put something in the comments about it. But they got a lot of shrines and different things and statues and all type of stuff with Kirby Puckett up there, right? He's a very important person in their community. But he had a thing that was called open angle glaucoma, right? And so what happens is your peripheral vision start decreasing. Like most people can probably see out to here, a little bit further out of here, right? Right now, well, actually, I can't see anything, right? Because my right eye is actually closed off, right? So in this instance, it's like it's shrunk, it keeps shrinking until it's bam, it's closed off, and now it's in complete darkness. But the left eye, I had an injury, a basketball injury back in like 83, and I got a fingernail in the eye, which then messed up my retina. It scarred my retina, which then took away my central vision. So now I have that already had caused some sense of blindness there in the first place, right? Now here comes the glaucoma, right? So I have like what looks like a pin needle. Is it like a pin needle, the head of a pin needle of what looks like vision? So something that crossed me, oh, bam, I saw it, then it's gone, right? But it's as if you can take wax paper. I remember, a lot of us remember wax paper. I think they still use it today, right? You can take wax paper, fold it in half, then fold it again, right? Then try to look through it. That's what vision looked like for me, right? Coming out of my left eye, out of that little pin spot. So I get light in my left eye, but that's it, right? So this is how my blindness is taking place, right? And so here's how it snuck up on me, right? And of course, a lot of you know my walk coming through prison. I went to prison. I was in prison for a while. And so when I got out, the blindness had already started creeping in on me. Didn't realize it. Most people who started hitting glaucoma, sometimes they started hitting you in your mid-30s. At this point, I'm 35, right? And so I was at the transition center, the halfway house, and I was at work. I was working, right? At that time, I was working for the Kroger company. And so I was in the back room, and guy said, hey, Clay, here's the keys. Open the door, right? And I saw his hand move, and next thing you know, I didn't see the keys, so they got up on me, right? And so I even had to stop playing basketball because at that time, I really couldn't see the ball. Somebody tried to even go for a rebound or something like that nature there. I couldn't see the ball. And sometimes the ball hit me in the shoulder and hit me on the head because I done missed the ball altogether, right? And you know, this ball is big and orange, you know what I mean? And so I would miss it, right? And so when I finally went to go get my eyes checked, I had 80% loss. What was considered 80% loss. I could not pass the field vision test, right? So, and I know that when you go in there, you look into this thing, you go to clicking it, and then when you see the light and everything, I couldn't pass it, right? So therefore, really, I was supposed to get my driver's license taken at that point there too. Of course, not, but at that time I did, right? And so what happens in this is that I didn't know but what to do with this. Then maybe about a couple of years later, when I went back and I still had vision, but I was trying to wear glasses, right, to try to help correct some of the vision in my right eye at this time there, right? So the glasses kept getting stronger and stronger and stronger. I really already couldn't do nothing with the left eye, but I was trying to wear glasses. Y'all go back and see some of my pictures. You see where I used to actually wear glasses, right? That was the reason why, so I can see, right? And so here's what happens. This is when the doctor explained it to me. It's like you have cups in your eye. I don't want to get too scientific about it, but you have cups. And at that point there, my cups had grew so large that it was squeezing in the nerve, right? The optical nerve in my eye, right? Which has caused the blindness. This is how the glaucoma started, right? And so there's a pressure that builds up on your eye. And at one time when my stuff was going unchecked, my pressure was like 44, 40 in an eye. That's very high, right? Like my pressure right now in my eyes. It's like 9, 12, right? That's how low it is. There's great pressures at this point right now, 9 and 12, right? But this is, and part of, they give you eye drops, right? And this is why I want guys to understand this, because this is something serious. I had lost my insurance, right? And they give you eye drops to kind of keep the pressures down, because if you can keep the pressure down, you can starve off the thing of going blind. Now, sometimes with glaucoma is a tricky thing. You can go years before you actually lose your sight, right? They tell you like 10 years, maybe something like that. You can actually go about 20 years before you really lose your sight if you take the medication and you keep your stressors down and all this old type of stuff here, right? Well, I lost my insurance. And this is why it's important. You know, we keep talking about running after money and all this old type of stuff here. And you guys have health insurance and you're not using it, right? You're not using your health insurance, you know, for whatever reasons, and your health is bad. We do this in various other places. I had Dr. Vanya Lavarnis on some months ago, and she was talking about how people don't come in and, you know, the diabetes is unchecked. They got high blood pressure that's unchecked because they don't go to the doctor. They don't go enough. They don't keep themselves checked out enough. Right. And so here's what happened. I had to make a decision. Either I was going to have the money to pay to take care of my diabetes, or I'm going to take care of my eyes. I could only at that time, I only had one option. I didn't know other options out there, and I had that option. And of course, for me, the idea was, well, diabetes can kill me, right? I can kind of function with blindness, right? Well, tell you the truth, that might be true, but it's not true, right? I'm still living, but I'm telling you that the loss of eyesight is probably I wouldn't wish that on a person, on my worst enemy, right? This loss of eyesight, I've been patient with it, got to be patient with it, and all this old type of stuff here. This is worse than being in prison, right? Because I can never leave it. This is worse than going to prison, right? And being and doing all that time, right? So I couldn't have the eye drops. I didn't have the eye drops. So at that point, that accelerated. I already had open angle glaucoma. It was very aggressive. It became very aggressive, right? Normally it might just ease, tip. Well, this had taken on a very aggressive phase, right? And so it was just grabbing until the point to where it was gone when I started using the drops. And I still use the drops today, but that's just to kind of keep the pressure down. And I know everyone remember Ray Charles and maybe moving the movie and some stuff that he was putting in his eyes and things of nature there. But at some point he had his eyes removed, right? That was because he probably wasn't doing his medication like he was supposed to. And those things were giving him severe headaches. That's what happens with the eyes, right? Because the eye is not just like jelly type of situation. The eyes is actually a muscle, right? And people don't really realize that the thing is solid. It's not just hollow and all this other. This thing is solid, right? And so the eyes actually can give you a lot of headaches if your pressures are bad. I'm trying to educate you on right now because it's somebody listening to this podcast who's probably going through that very thing. And I'm saying to you, please go to a doctor. Go to, get your eyes checked and have them refer you to optometrist or what's it called, ophthalmologist or whatever, so you can get that eye check. I'm letting you know this is serious. We are the group of people who suffer from it the most. Part of that reason why is because we are the group who goes to the doctor the least. We don't go until we say stage 4 cancer or, stage 5 kidney disease or, Everything, we at the top stage of whatever it is, where there really is no daggone recovery from it. We are in the spaces where, it's if it cut your foot off because you didn't want to go get that wound checked. Now they got to amputate your foot, amputate your leg, or they cutting off your fingers because you're not taking care of your diabetes, and your digits are getting removed, getting amputated. I'm saying, please, the eyes are very serious. This is Blindness Awareness Month, and I wanted to bring attention to this. I want to take this opportunity to bring attention to this. And brothers, Black men, Black Muslim men, we have to do something better. We want to see our kids. I'm letting you know, the hardest thing for me to do is have a beautiful wife and I can't see her. I have her, but I want to see her face. I have beautiful grandkids. I can't see them. I can play with them. I can love on them, but I want to see them. I want to see them. And I pray for my eyesight to come back, and it's probably just a lot of intense for me, something else for me. And I have to be patient with his decree. But yeah, sometimes it's hard. I've had a multitude of people give me the hadith. If the person who loses beloved two beloveds, Allah is giving them a place in Jannah. And thank you. Letting everybody know, I know that hadith. All right. I know the hadith. And I really appreciate it. But I'm letting you know something. My heart still hurts and my heart still aches. Why? Because I live in a sighted world and I am unsighted. So yeah, I have to make a lot of adjustments. I have to adapt, adjust, and overcome. And I travel. For those who know me, I travel by myself. I do a lot of things on my own. I try my best to make it happen. I don't want to be a liability to anybody or a burden to anybody or anything in nature. Yes, I do need help, a lot more help than I probably would have if I still had myself. Oh, a lot more help than because I couldn't ask for nothing, right? But now I have to kind of check my pride at the door, be a little bit more humble, and all this old type of stuff here, and rely on some people. And rely on people around me. And, alhamdulillah, all praise be to God that I have great people around me, even people I don't know. They're eager to assist. They're happy to assist, and so I'm appreciative of that. But it's hard. It's hard. The blindness is hard. I have friends who, they sit there and tell me, man, I took the opportunity to just close my eyes and try to see what it's like being blind. And, I understand the motive and intent behind what's been, but for some blind people, not me, but some blind people, that's offensive. Right? That's offensive. Why? Because you taking a moment to try to be blind. I got to live this thing every day, right? Now, I'm saying not me, but for some people it is. But for the 3 to 4 minutes that you were looking at what blindness looked like, or you had a scarf around your eyes, a blindfold on your eyes so you can, whatever. I mean, that's all well and good. No, it's not a heightened in hearing. No, you don't have a heightened sense of touch and smell and all this other type of stuff. Scientifically, that's not the case. But what is the case is that you rely on different senses more now because of it. So yeah, I'm relying on my hearing. So yeah, so I have to hear. I do hear. My attention to go a little bit more because things are being said is in earshot that I probably wouldn't even paid attention to it if I had sight, right? And here it was. I was driving. I was in a world with couldn't half see, and this is how I stopped driving, right? I'm telling some funny stories today because I want y'all to know how serious I was trying to function and a sighted world I couldn't see. I'm on 285, all here on the east side on 285, right by at I-20. And I was on my way home, and it was creeping. Traffic was creeping. And I'm trying to get over because the police is dealing with something in front of me. And I'm trying to get over, and I'm just creeping. But I'm drifting, not realizing I'm drifting until I realized, bam, I done tapped the back of the police car. Right? I done hit the back of the police car. Right? And so he come out of his car, and he coming in with his face all snarled up, crazy looking like I thought. And like, because I didn't hit his car. I ain't do no damage. But, and he wrote me a ticket. He wrote me a ticket. But for me, that was just a wake-up call. And at that point, I stopped driving. I would have my, kids, my wife, whoever, drive me everywhere I needed to go at that point. Or at that point, too, I could still see a little, so I would jump on MARTA on the transit system here and take a bus and take the train to where I was going. I was working down at on the south side, down in College Park. And so, it was one of those things where I had to do something different because I no longer trusted myself being behind the wheel of a car. This is 2011, right? I actually lose sight, complete sight, 2014, right? So that's how aggressive it was. I just want you guys to know that. I just want you guys to know, get your eyes checked. Get them checked regularly. Sometimes just once a year, an eye exam once a year. And, but within that phase of a year, get your eyes checked. If something's going on, continue to follow up that with the specialist so they can tell you what it is that you need to do as far as working with your eyes and make sure your eyes stay healthy as much as you possibly can, especially if you have some sort of blindness coming in or coming on. I'm saying to you, make sure that you do this. This is Blindness Awareness Month. And if you know somebody is blind, be helpful to them. By all means, don't try to manhandle them if you're trying to help them out. Just say, hey, do you need any assistance before you grab and put your hands on somebody who's blind, right? You don't never want to just put your hands on somebody. They don't know you. They ain't know you're around, they're blind. You might want them to get hit by the cane, right? So just being honest with you, you don't want that. And you don't want to have to deliver back that smoke, right? But by all means, look to see what you can do as far as glaucoma is concerned. Again, we're saying 2 causes of blindness within the Black community. One is glaucoma. The second one is cataracts. And sometimes people get them confused. Cataracts is when something that thing is coming over your lens, right? And sometimes they can correct it by having surgery. They can remove it. They can't do any surgery for glaucoma. There's no surgery for glaucoma. They can't reverse it. Once you start losing eyesight with glaucoma, it's gone. It's gone. So we just want you to know that there is no eye transplants that you can have. All this old $6 million man that you see with the bionic guy, you can go get it and all that type of stuff here. No, it's not. There's nothing available to cure glaucoma, right? But what you can do is starve it out a little bit. You can slow it down to where you can have your eyesight and everything and live a real normal and productive life with sight. All right? So, by all means, before the end of this month, if you're checking out this, if your sisters, y'all in there, you have a husband, a brother, a son, father, or somebody who you love, you checking it out, talk to them about when the last time they went to go see, a person who got to get to check their eyes? When last time they've been to an eye clinic, right? Or a vision clinic? When last time they've been to one, right? And by all means, encourage them to make the appointment. Stand up strong with them and ask them to make that appointment. Because if you don't, this is what you wind up with at the end: blindness. All right. So thank everybody for tuning in this week. Of course, Get Made Podcast is recorded and released on YouTube under the Hasan Clay Experience, also on Facebook at Hasan Clay. You can connect with me on all platforms at the Hasan Clay Experience. And again, this thing released every Monday at 7 p.m. So put your notifications on for 7 p.m. Monday on Facebook and on YouTube for the Get Made Podcast and the Hasan Clay Experience. And we're going to see you guys again next week. All right. Y'all have a great one.